Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Should we do this?
No.
Yeah, I guess should we and
And will we?
yeah, are two completely different things, but should we? Probably not. Will we? Here we go. Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake, and it is too late to go back now.
Yes, exactly. We've only just started, and it's far too late. So this is our Kyushu Banzuke review. We did our prediction back at the end of September. It's been about a month and a half, probably actually just about a month at this point. And now we're back to see what the Banzuke committee put together. How does that compare to my prediction? Jake, what do you got going on before I monologue for about 45 minutes?
Yeah. God, it does feel like it's been too long since I've listened to you monologue for 45 minutes in one go.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to do a quick update on amateur sumo coming up. We have the Houston Open that is at the Tokyo Night Festival in Houston on November 12th. Me and Sabrina from Sumo Punks will be there live and also running the stream. So if you are there, make sure to stop by and say hello. And then also on December 3rd, Ronin Sumo Bea is hosting their first tournament. That's going to be in Defuniak Springs. That's a hell of a city name.
That doesn't sound like a real place.
I don't think it is. It's on the Florida Panhandle, so it's a whole thing. But in Defuniak Springs, Florida, there'll be adult and youth divisions. There are a handful of kids that practice with Ronin Sumo Bea, and they are working to get some more competitors from around the area. I know at least some of the guys from Texas are driving over there. There's a good presence in the South that doesn't have as many tournaments as Texas, so I think this one will be a good one to look into. Look up Ronin Sumo on Instagram or Ronin Sumo-Bea on Facebook. Again, that is December 3rd in a place that allegedly exists called Defuniak Springs.
I don't believe it.
Oh, man. No, that's all I got.
All right. If anybody's watching on YouTube, you'll notice I got a new setup here than from every other time we've recorded. Still in the same room, just kind of in another corner. I've started a new work from home job, so I have vastly upgraded my at-home recording system. You'll notice a much nicer camera that I have at this point. I've got 4 monitors in front of me right now. So it's a much better setup. Well, 3 monitors plus my laptop screen, which is basically just here so I can scroll around the outline.
Quick favor. Could you go back to the worst camera?
No.
Dang.
You're stuck with this. I apologize. I am a little bit more self-conscious right now. But you know what? Just means I gotta bring my A game when I'm on here, because people are gonna be able to see everything.
If you're self-conscious, you shouldn't have helped create a library of hundreds of hours of you talking about your hobby.
Fair, very fair.
Oh man, yeah, it's too late for that.
Yeah,
it's like it's too late to not talk about the Banzuke because we are already here.
That's right.
And another thing for if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're not, you probably should. I am going to put up some graphics here showing the results from Aki, what Ryan predicted was going to happen, and the actual Banzuke for Kyushu. So while I set that up, Ryan, why don't you get going here?
Yeah, Jake has basically put on one screen what it's going to take me about 45 to 50 minutes to explain, rendering almost this entire exercise pointless.
Yes.
But here we go. And as Jake did that, it made it full screen.
So Ryan, you got to get your outline back up. If only you had 4 monitors in front of you to get some space.
Well, I want to do it.
I guess I did not realize that would screw with your full screen, whatever. But you know what?
Yeah. Well. Yep.
You shouldn't need to outline. You just need the graphic to look at because it shows where everybody's at.
No, I 100% need the outline. All right.
All right. Let her rip.
Starting with Yokozuna, because of course we start with the Yokozuna. On the east side of that rank, we will have Terunofuji, because of course we will. He is hurt. He will probably be absent, but he has not retired yet, so he will still sit in that Yokozuna East rank, being our top ranked Rikishi for the Basho. At the Ozeki rank, we are only going to have 2 Ozeki this time, and somehow, against all the odds, it is Shodai who is still an Ozeki, and Mitake Yumi, the one that dropped down to Sekiwake just 4 Basho after he was promoted to Ozeki earlier in the year. The order of the Ozeki is going to be based on how many wins they got in the previous Basho. So Ozeki Evil Takakeisho will be on the east side, and Shodai will be on the west side.
I forgot about that stupid joke.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep persisting with it, and now I have to look all the way over here to this other gigantic monitor where I have you, so now I can see you, because apparently I can't split screen when you share your screen with me. Yeah, it's annoying. Sorry, technical difficulties as I'm dealing with slightly more technology than I've had previously.
That was a mistake. Yeah,
that was a huge mistake. Absolutely.
In the meantime, I'm going to Control F Takakeisho and replace with Evil Takakeisho for the entire document.
Hey, look, I fixed it. All right, I got it split screen. I'm happy again. I figured it out.
Attaboy. That's why we keep you around.
I did it. Hey, it only took me like 2 to 3 minutes, and without looking anything up. Really, that's probably better than 90% of the population. We'll just go with that. All right. At Sekiwake, what would the Sekiwake rank be without Sekiwake Wakataka Kage? And I believe for the 5th consecutive Basho, Sekiwake Wakataka Kage will be Sekiwake East. And at Sekiwake West, we will have Hoshoryu, same as it was last time. Both Wakataka Kage and Hoshoryu had winning records. Wakataka Kage had a better record than Hoshoryu, so no reason to flip them around. So they keep their previous rank. Yep. We have a Sekiwake 2 rank for the 2nd consecutive Basho, but this time the lone Sekiwake 2 fills the west slot instead of the east slot like it was in the Aki Basho, as you can so very clearly see in the YouTube version of events where Jake has the previous Aki Banzuke up. So the reason
Sumo DB if you want,
well, don't guide them away from our YouTube channel, Jake.
I shouldn't direct them to our competitor, right?
Yeah, our competitor Sumo DB.
Yeah, we need those views.
Yeah, exactly. For what we don't know yet, but we need them. We assume for something.
Yes, yeah. There's a finite number of views in the universe, and we need our share before we run out.
Exactly.
That's what Thanos came to us for.
Yep. So the reason that the Sekiwake 2 slot has moved from the east side to the west side is that we just need to balance out the Sanyaku ranks. With us now only having 2 Ozeki, we can't use the Ozeki 2 spot to balance out the lone east Yokozuna, so the Sekiwake 2 west slot will be used to balance out the lone east Yokozuna. And Sekiwake 2 west is going to be Mitake Yumi, dropping from the Ozeki rank. If he gets 10 or more wins in the upcoming Basho, he will regain his Ozeki rank. We will have all of the GSB guys on our podcast next week for our Kyushu preview to answer the question of will he get 10 or more wins, and it'll be a definitive answer. We will know beforehand if he'll get 10 or more wins. That's a promise to you.
That's how podcasting works.
Yeah, at least one person is going to get it right, because I'm going to set it up for the other 3 guys to answer the question before me, and if they all say the same thing, I'll do the opposite. So at least one of us will be right.
Don't show everyone how the sausage is made here, Ryan.
That's how it works. All right. We dropped down to the Komosubi ranks, not rank. So we spent a lot of time on the preview episode, probably the bulk of the time of the preview episode, breaking down how many Komosubi slots we would end up with, and then what order those Rikishi would fill the Komosubi slots. And luckily, that time wasn't wasted, as I got it mostly right. But there is just one difference from what I predicted. And it starts with the first Komosubi, which will be Komosubi 1 East. And that is Tamawashi, who rises. Jake, I'm going to need your help. Does he rise 3 ranks from Maegashira 3 to fill Komosubi 1, or is he rising 4 ranks? I'm not sure if we consider Komosubi 2 like its own rank that you rise past to get to Komusubi 1, or if the conglomerate of 4 Rikishi filling the Komusubi ranks is just one rank.
I don't know. What?
Th-
Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks for the
you're
help.
right. Yep, you bet. I would say it. I guess I don't know. In my mind, it would count as extra ranks because he's ahead of more people.
All right, we'll go with
Well,
that.
no, because it doesn't make it. There's different numbers. Move on. Just move on.
No, I don't want to. I want to discuss. This is what I had planned for 30 of the 45 minutes for this episode. So I was expecting you to have a much hotter take than what you came out with.
I'll work on one.
All right. We're going to call it 4 for now. So Tamawashi rising 4 ranks after his 13-2 Yusho from Maegashira 3. I did not predict that Tamawashi would be the first Komusubi listed. I thought that would go to Kiribayama, and this was based on just the Aki Banzuke after Ichinojo won the Yusho from Maegashira 2 in Nagoya. Yep, that's the one. And Abi had a winning record from Komusubi West. At that time, Abi, who had a winning record from Komusubi, stayed ahead of Ichinojo, who won the Yusho from a Maegashira 2 rank on the following Banzuke. So I thought something similar would happen. Kiribayama had a winning record as a Komusubi, would stay ahead of the Yusho winning Maegashira 3. Obviously, that did not happen. I do think the key difference is that Kiribayama was a Komusubi 2 last Basho, whereas Abi was a Komusubi 1 at a time. So the only place Abi could go and get a promotion was over to the Komusubi East side, whereas Kiribayama could jump from Komusubi 2 West, which he was last time, up to Komusubi 1 West, still get a promotion, and does allow Tamawashi to fill that Komusubi 1 East spot, where I do think Tamawashi does deserve to be ahead of Kiribayama on this Banzuke. So I have no issues with what JSA East decided to do here, and will not be issuing any reprimands to them. I've decided that I've kind of decided that they make a lot of dumb decisions sometimes, and nobody's holding them in check. Here we are, JSA West. Who better than us to hold them responsible for when they make dumb decisions on the Banzuke? So I'm going to start handing out reprimands when they make just dumb, inexcusable decisions on the Banzuke. So far, they've avoided one, but we'll see how many we tally up as the Banzuke goes on.
I like that because it acknowledges the fact that we have as much formal power as they do.
Exactly. Yes.
All the way up to the dreaded the nuclear option of like politely asking someone to retire.
Right. Yeah.
That's the ultimate reprimand.
We have, based on the authority we've given ourselves, we have as much authority as the Yokozuna Deliberation Council does.
There you go. That I guess that's what I meant. The JSA East themselves, I suppose
Obviously,
they do have some power.
A modicum more than what we do. But I would say we're on par with the Yokozuna Deliberation Council.
YDC West. Or
we also have YDC West, but right now we're working as JSA West.
I gotcha. Yeah, until we switch, we put on our different
We
hats.
have many different hats, yes.
Yeah. This bit has gone on long enough.
Yeah, fair enough. So at Komusubi 1 West, we have Kiribayama moving up from Komusubi 2 to Komusubi 1 after his 9-6 record. But that is not all the Komusubi fun we are going to be having on this Banzuke. We have a full Komusubi 2 rank, an East and a West side to fill out. And on the East side, we have Tobizaru, who went 10-5 from the top Maegashira rank, and he rises to Komusubi 2 East, a career high rank for Tobizaru. And we have a 4th Komusubi rank that was created for Daisho. This pretty much cements what we've always thought: a Rikishi that was Sekiwake and had a 7-8 record will never result in a demotion to the Maegashira ranks. They created a 4th Komusubi slot to prevent that from happening. I don't know any other situation. Like, if any situation made sense to drop him down to the Maegashira ranks, I would think it would be this one, although that would have caused its own set of headaches and probably wouldn't have been a good idea either. But opening up a 4th Komusubi slot to protect this guy, yeah, Sekiwakes with 7 and 8 records aren't going to drop down to Maegashira 1 or any lower than that.
Got it.
So 4 Komusubi is not a very common occurrence. It's the second time we have seen it. It happened, I think, Aki 2019, at least in 2019. I might have the Basho wrong when we had like Hokuto Fuji.
You
Asano
probably
Yama.
don't have it wrong.
I,
Knowing you,
probably, yeah. But we'll just, nobody look it up. We'll just assume I'm absolutely right. But this is the 17th time overall that a basho will be held with 4 komusubi out of over 800. But this is the first time that we're going to have a Christmas tree Banzuke. I don't know if anybody else coined it, but Leonid on the Tachiai blog called it a Christmas tree Banzuke. We have 1 Yokozuna, 2 Ozeki, 3 Sekiwake, and 4 komusubi, and a partridge and a pear tree.
Golden rings.
Absolutely.
Golden stars. Damn it. I'm too late. Can't go back to that joke now.
Jake, I'm going to need for you by, let's say, Kyushu review, because that'll be the closest we are to Christmas time. I'm going to need the 12 days of sumo from you.
I feel like Flaric's the one who owes a punishment from our last basho.
He does, and I'm starting to get worried because
that next basho's coming right up.
Yeah, and he said he was going to probably need our help for recording some of the commercials. I have heard hide nor hair from Fleric about any help he might need for those commercials. So I'm honestly worried he hasn't even thought about it until Jake sent him a message on Discord. Make sure.
Yeah, I'm going to text him right now. Thank you. That's a really good idea. Oh, by the way, I have I have created a lukewarm take for the Tamawashi thing you were asking about.
Oh, yeah, please.
It took a long time because I'm bad at counting and also talking. But I counted that in the previous basho, he was the 15th ranked Rikishi, and he's now the 7th. If you go purely like 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top,
okay,
that's exactly 4 ranks. So yes,
all right,
4 ranks it is.
All right, perfect. I like it.
Joke that was like 5 minutes ago.
What do you mean joke?
That I don't know. What do you want me to say?
A super serious point that deserved the time and effort we put into it.
Whatever. Let's leave Komusubi land and move on to the zone of death.
Okay. So as we get to the zone of death, this is another area that we put a lot of time on the preview, trying to unravel how the crowded Maegashira 1 through Maegashira 3 ranks would end up. Once again, did pretty well overall, but once again had one mistake in this area. But that mistake was not at the Maegashira 1 rank, as we have Takayasu rising only 3 ranks after an 11-4 record from Maegashira 4. This is making him a snub of the Banzuke candidate. Really didn't have anywhere else to put him unless we wanted to create a 5th Komusubi slot, which has never happened. So just kind of tough luck for Takayasu there, but I think we talked about it on the preview. This is the 3rd straight Rikishi that has had 11 wins from the Maegashira 4 rank to not make it into the Sanyaku ranks the following basho. So terrible. Not unprecedented at all. And then at Maegashira 1 West, we have Koto no Waka, who finally breaks his streak of 3 consecutive Maegashira 2 bashos after he went 8-7 from Maegashira 2 East and Aki. This is a career high rank for Koto no Waka. Then we get to Maegashira 2. Excuse me, I apologize. Where we have Meisei sliding up 1/2 rank from Maegashira 2 West to Maegashira 2 East after he had an 8-7 record. And at Maegashira 2 West, this is where my mistake occurred in this range of the Banzuke. I debated on the preview if this spot should go to Midori Fuji, who was 7-8 from Maegashira 1, or to Ichinojo, who was 6-9 from Komusubi 1. Ultimately, I went with Midori Fuji at this spot so that we did not have to over-demote him or anyone else in this range, but JSA East saw it differently and put Ichinojo at this Maegashira 2 West spot. So there's a little bit of history that comes along with this. This is the 3rd time ever a Maegashira 1 Rikishi with 7 wins has been demoted 2 full ranks. So he is dropping 4 spots in the order. So not just a rank and a half, 2 full ranks. There are a handful of Maegashira 1 West Rikishi that have dropped to Maegashira 3 East, a 1.5 rank promotion. But this is the first time since 1960 When Maegashira 1 East, Ohikari had 7 wins and dropped to Maegashira 3 West. And the first time since 1770 when a Maegashira 1 West dropped to Maegashira 3 West. So this demotion that we had, first time since 1770.
That's wild. Also, this may shock you, but Fleric said, I haven't done anything yet.
Good thing we thought about it.
Good thing we thought about it.
Yeah. I've seen a few messages come through. Why don't you fill me in on what's going on?
Yeah, we're working on scheduling the preview now. So good thinking. I'm glad that we decided to do this.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So to explain this Midori Fuji Ichinojo snafu for myself, I'm not sure what theory JSA East used. It could be that Ichinojo was in the Sanyaku ranks and they wanted to protect his fall a little bit, as we've typically seen very soft demotions for people falling out of the Sanyaku ranks, or if the existence of that Komusubi 2 rank in the Akibasho played a role. As Jake pointed out, kind of it does act as another rank. You are passing 2 more people to get past that spot. So when I put together my prediction for the Banzuke, I viewed Komusubi as 1 rank, despite there being more than 2 Rikishi occupying the role of Komusubi. If you look at it like that, Ichinojo deserves to fall to Maegashira 3, a 3-rank drop from Komusubi to Maegashira 3 after a 6-9 record. That's how the math would work out. But if you view Komusubi 2 as a rank in and of itself, then Ichinojo's spot here makes a lot more sense. He would deserve a 3-rank drop from Komusubi 1 West, which, if you drop 3 ranks from Komusubi 1 West, you hit Komusubi 2 West, Maegashira 1 West, Maegashira 2 West. That's exactly where he should end up. So I can see the logic that JSA East was using, at least 1 or 2 different forms. Close to getting a reprimand from me on this one, but there's enough logic in there that I can at least make up or interpret to save them from receiving a harshly worded letter from me. So
maybe not a reprimand, maybe an encouragement to gambarize in their next Banzuke
yeah,
and not use this type of logic.
Well, actually, I kind of like the logic. It just, we haven't really run into a situation where we had a Komusubi 2 in 2 consecutive basho that we kind of needed to account for people falling down. So honestly, this is probably on me. I need to do better next time and adjust my predictions.
Ooh,
so actually, you know what?
Reprimand.
We're gonna give a self reprimand on this one. But we're still gonna make Ichinojo a luck of the Banzuke candidate here. Maegashira 3 on the east side, we have Ura. So unfortunately for Midori Fuji, he's kind of forced to be over demoted down to Maegashira 3 West, because if we believe Ichinojo and Midori Fuji both deserve to be the same rank, if we're counting Komusubi 2 as a rank in and of itself, then the tiebreaker is going to go to the dropping Sanyaku Rikishi. So that pushes Midori Fuji down a little bit further than we'd like. But then you have Ura, who was 8-7 from Maegashira 3 West. Unless we wanted to keep Ura at the same rank he was in the previous basho after having a winning record, which we decidedly do not want to do, then we have to move Midori Fuji down a little bit further. So Ura is at Maegashira 3 East, moving up a half rank, and Midori Fuji falls at Maegashira 3 West. And he becomes our second snub of the Banzuke candidate for his near historic demotion, which is kind of weird saying that for a 2-rank drop for a 7 and 8 Rikishi. But when it's the first time that this rank and record combination has fallen down to Maegashira 3 West since 1770, yeah, we'll make you a snub of the Banzuke candidate.
Yeah. Further update on Fleric. Tuesday work for you, Ryan?
I'll be coming back from vacation that day, but I should be getting back midday. So yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
The wife
I was the one who mentioned the sausage being made earlier, but here's some more sausage making for you, listeners.
Yeah. The wife and I are taking a calculated risk. We're going on vacation up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We're driving up there, kind of be there in the fall, see like the leaves changing and all that fun stuff. The calculated risk part of that is we are taking our 2-year-old daughter Riley along with us. So that's going to be 10 hours there in a car, 10 hours on the way back in a car, and then just kind of being in the middle of nowhere with a 2-year-old. So we'll see how that goes. My guess is not well. So it could be a very interesting preview episode, depending on the state of mind that I return in.
I think we discussed this when we hung out a little bit this weekend, but you might have to lean on us a little bit for that outline making. That's just fine.
Absolutely, we will see. It might not be at the top of my to-do list as soon as I get back from my vacation to put the outline together.
I'm picturing you like kicking the door in at your house with like 7 bags like hanging off your shoulders, holding your daughter up by one leg as she's just screaming bloody murder over like, I don't know, a balloon.
That sounds about right. Yeah. We went trick-or-treating because we live in Des Moines on Beggars Night on Sunday, not on Halloween, like literally the rest of the world does.
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
She got a balloon while trick-or-treating, promptly hugged it too hard, popped it, and was very upset.
That's one of the more normal things that she's thrown a tantrum about, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, easily. I mean, we have tantrums about, oh, do you want a banana? Yeah, I want a banana. Okay, here's your banana. No, I don't want a banana. What's wrong with you? So we have that a lot recently. Yeah. A lot of, yes, I want this. Give it to her. No, I don't want this.
Oh, I do like the part where she started speaking in the third person, though. That's fun.
Yeah, apparently that's normal. But yeah,
Riley do it.
Yeah,
Riley Peel.
She only refers to herself as Riley. Oh, apparently Matt cannot do next Tuesday, so
okay, so it sounds like probably next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
I guess I'm gonna have to make that work. Yeah, that's rough for me, but we'll have to make it work.
Oh, I don't know about Wednesday actually. Now I think that's the night that we're taking a baby class. We'll work on this.
Yeah. Preview TBD.
TBD.
It will come out. It might be later than you usually get it.
Yep.
The sausage is being made and it ain't pretty, people.
Oh man, and then I got to leave for Houston Friday morning. So
yeah.
Oh buddy.
Jake, why don't you send a message out asking about Thursday evening?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
While you do that, mid Banzuke. Maegashira 4. And just like the preview for this Banzuke, now that we are past the Maegashira 3 rank, the rest of this should fly fairly quickly. We're getting off track a lot here, so who knows if this actually will fly pretty quickly. Because the logic for the most part after this point is pretty straightforward, and there's not a whole lot there to discuss, and I got most of it right. So Wakamoto Haru will become our third snub of the Banzuke candidate, as he only rises 2 ranks to Maegashira 4 East after a 10-5 record from Maegashira 6. And Sado no Umi similarly joins the ranks of snub candidates after a 1 rank promotion to Maegashira 4 West after a 9-6 record from Maegashira 5 West. So because of that, because of that big logjam we had for the Sanyaku Rikishi and the Rikishi that were Maegashira 1, Maegashira 3, kind of nobody deserving to leave that area. It just kind of sucks for the guys outside of that range that aren't able to break into this Basho.
Yep.
Maegashira 5, we have Hokuto Fuji rising 3 ranks to Maegashira 5 East after a 10-5 record for Maegashira 8. And then we have Nishiki Fuji rising 5 ranks to a career high Maegashira 5 West after a 10-5 record from Maegashira 10. The Maegashira 6 rank is a little interesting. So I had Ryuden landing at Maegashira 6 East in my prediction because by our math, Ryuden and Nishiki Fuji were tied for deserving the Maegashira 5 West spot. Nishiki Fuji won that tiebreaker based on previously being on the east side. So I put Nishiki Fuji ahead of him and just assumed, okay, then Ryuden would be the next guy to be placed. Because Nishiki Fuji and Ryuden both deserve to be 2 ranks higher than the next Rikishi who deserved to be placed on the Banzuke, that being Nishiki. But JSA East decided that Nishiki would be placed ahead of Ryuden and ended up at Maegashira 6 East, falling 2 ranks after a 6-9 record. Possibly a bit of joy bias for Nishiki in here, as he did face 7 Sanyaku Rikishi, and Ryuden faced only 3 Rikishi ranked higher than Maegashira 10. So Ryuden winds up rising 6 ranks to Maegashira 6 West after his 11-4 record for Maegashira 12. This one's close to needing a reprimand, but I do think they're pulling in a little bit of the Joy bias here, and Ryuden also probably sucks because he probably cheated on his wife and got suspended for COVID. So I'm not overly upset that he's getting snubbed by 1 rank. So I don't fully like it and don't fully endorse it, but JSA East is going to avoid an official reprimand.
Fair enough.
I saw some more messages flying. Jake, how are we looking for Thursday?
Thursday's gonna be tough.
Something's got to give. Somebody's got to move something, or somebody's missing the episode.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Have you seen that meme though, where it's scheduling D&D as an adult, and it's the Lord of the Rings scene where Frodo says or whatever Frodo says, like, how about Tuesday, and it shows Aragorn, you have my sword. Legolas says, you have my bow. And then Gimli says, Tuesday's not good for me.
Yeah, I think you've sent that to us, and that's also been our entire adult life trying to play D&D after college, where we get like 2 or 3 sessions into a campaign and then it just falls apart because nobody can do it at the same time.
Similar to a podcast, it's so difficult when you need it to be everyone.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The problem. That's the main problem. Like, at some point, we just gotta, like, maybe when multiple of us have kids at the same time, we just got to go, screw it. If it's a majority, we're just doing the episode.
Yeah.
3 out of 4, whatever, we're doing it.
Who's got a problem with Thursday?
Actually, at this point, I think I might have the worst problem with Thursday because I also have to edit it before I get on a plane super early.
Yeah, sucks to be you.
It does
sleep
suck
on the
to
plane.
Be
Sleep on the plane.
I guess last thing before we get back on topic, I guess I won't have a job that week. So that's kind of neat.
That's right. Jake is also similarly in a position of, I was just moving jobs. I've settled into my new job. Jake is moving jobs as we speak. I think you're wrapping up your last week with your current company.
I am doing my absolute damnedest to look busy, but it's not working. I've already transferred my projects off. I'm like, I just got to show up for 3 more days here and do something, I guess.
Yeah, that was fairly similar for what I had in my final weeks. It was like, I already got everything prepared for what you'll need to finish the project I'm working on. What more do you really need from me here?
Yeah, exactly. But I guess if the entire episode hinges on my ability to stay up late to edit an episode, I guess that's what's going to happen.
Once again, sleep on the plane, even better, sleep when you're dead.
That's a good point, because I can't sleep on airplanes. So what rank are we on?
I believe Maegashira 7.
Excellent.
So, hey, oddly enough, this is where I wrote in my outline, we get back on track at Maegashira 7.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. Where at Maegashira 7 East, Endo lands after a 7-8 record from Maegashira 6, so just a 1 drop for him. And Miyogiryu falls in at Maegashira 7 West, rising 2 ranks after an 8-7 record from Maegashira 9. Then we get to Maegashira 8. Here's where I think we're going to issue a reprimand over to JSA East, Jake.
They've been testing your patience here.
They've been testing me, and I think the dam finally broke here. So Takeda Fuji falls only 3 spots to Maegashira 8 East after a 5-10 record for Maegashira 5. By the math, Takanosho, who I had landing at the Maegashira 8 East in my prediction, deserved this rank more than Takeda Fuji. Takeda Fuji was not in the Joy. And he isn't a Sanyaku mainstay that deserves the benefit of the doubt. In fact, Takanosho has double the Sanyaku experience that Takeda Fuji does. Takanosho, and if you look at their schedules, Takeda Fuji did have a tougher schedule, but it's for a Maegashira 5 versus Maegashira 10, pretty similar to the amount of like where they fought the different Rikishi, because Takeda Fuji started having a horrible record, so he started facing all the Rikishi that were sucking this Basho.
Sure.
So Takanosho could have easily risen 2 ranks for an 8-7 record. Hell, we just had Miyogiryu do the same thing here. I cannot see any logic for having Takada Fuji only fall 3 ranks after a 5-10 record to take a spot away from somebody who would not be getting a crazy over promotion by any means and deserved to be ahead of Takada Fuji. So
Sure.
I am issuing a reprimand to JSA East on this one, and also making Takada Fuji a luck of the Banzuke candidate here. Did come across a little conspiracy theory. So I was reading Tachiai's Banzuke Crystal Ball recap after the Banzuke came out. Leonard over there did his kind of recap of the Banzuke where everything ended up compared to his predictions. And he hinted at some possible nepotism at play as Takada Fuji is in Isegahama Beya, and Isegahama Oyakata is the head of the Shimpan department that puts together the Banzukes. And if we look at the previous Banzuke, it is when we got to Takada Fuji, when we were reviewing the Aki Banzuke, that is the one guy on that Banzuke we couldn't figure out why he deserved to be where he was. We couldn't understand how he got a promotion over, I think it was Wakamoto Haru and Sadanomi, who both deserved to be ahead of Takada Fuji. So why was Takada Fuji promoted 7 ranks after a 9-6 record?
Fascinating.
So I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but I do have my eye on the situation now, and I am issuing a retroactive reprimand for Takada Fuji's placement on the last Banzuke. So don't push it to 3 straight bashas with a reprimand for the same Rikishi JSA East. The consequences will be dire. I don't know what those consequences will be, but once I figure them out, they will be dire.
I don't have a joke. I didn't have one in the chamber ready. I should have seen that coming.
There is no joke in this situation.
There you go. That's the
this
joke.
is a very serious situation. And yeah, it's above jokes. Like we can't have this. 3 reprimands in a row. That's just putting into question the entire JSA. And Sumo without the JSA is a formless being that meanders around and falls apart almost instantaneously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
and as we know from one of Japan's other biggest sports, baseball, 3 strikes in a row, that's a turnover.
Shut up. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on because you made me mad.
Oh,
it's not even like you're a person who hates sports doing let's go kick the baseball around the field and score a touchdown. Hole in one. No, you're not one of those people. You know sports. You're just doing that to annoy me, and it works. And I hate that it works. We just
had this conversation amongst us outside of the podcast, of course. But if you want to be properly dumb, you got to be smart.
Yeah.
You got to know enough about the thing that you're mocking to know that you're hitting the right points, and that's a skill that I've cultivated. That skill of being dumb. Very, very good at being bad at it. Yeah.
You have a lot of experience at being dumb.
Yep.
God, this episode's going to run so long. We cannot stay on topic. All right. Maegashira 9. We have Takanosho only rising up 1 rank after his 8-7 record to Maegashira 9 East from Maegashira 10. And at Maegashira 9 West lands the wild card of this Banzuke, that being Abi, who was Kyujo for the entire Basho. He was previously ranked Komusubi 1, and he ended up dropping what we're going to call 10 ranks past Komusubi 2, and then 9 additional ranks down to Maegashira 9. So we had looked at the previous trends for where Komusubis had been landing after missing an entire Basho, and it was pretty consistent that they were landing at Maegashira 10 with a lot of regularity. So that's kind of where I had put him on prediction. I'm like, all right, we'll just throw him at Maegashira 10 like everybody else had been. But the fact that we had that Komusubi 2 rank last Basho, I think changed the math a little bit. And so he ends up landing at Maegashira 9 here. Nothing wrong with this. Another self-reprimand for myself. A note to get better.
Okay. Not a full strike.
Not a full strike.
Okay, good.
Yeah. A foul. We'll call it a foul.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What's your joke if you get 4 of those, Jake? What is that?
Technically, you can have as many fouls in a row before you strike out. So,
good point. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. For some reason, I was thinking balls. God, I was being the dumb sports boy.
Ha!
All right, Maegashira 10. On the east side, we're going to have Aoyama falling 3 ranks after a 6-9 record for Maegashira 7. And at Maegashira 10 West, I have Chiyoshima. Not I have. The Banzuke committee has Chiyoshima rising 4 ranks after a 9-6 record from Maegashira 14. So the Maegashira 8 to Maegashira 10 ranks was the worst part of my prediction. I didn't have anybody off by more than 1 full rank, but I only got 1 Rikishi out of 6 in the exact right spot. Luckily, I got my poop in a group and got the final 12 Rikishi in the exact right spot on this Banzuke. So as we move forward, just know that I absolutely nailed this.
You scored a real bullseye touchdown.
I'm not engaging in this any further.
I thought that bit could go somewhere.
No, it seriously annoys me.
It absolutely got tackled on the second base for no gain.
It's a little bit less because I know you're doing it to annoy me, but it's when like people who don't like sports do it to like mock people who like sports. Like it's somehow such a terrible thing to be invested in
vocabulary.
Sports. Yeah, and to know about sports, so they do it to mock you. That's what pisses me off.
Sure,
you're not better than me.
No, I'm you? Just no, but in this case, because I know the answer, and I'm only doing it to get a rise out of you.
Makes it slightly annoying, but not as annoying.
Yeah, there's still that little piece of your brain that's gonna like skip a heartbeat like every time I do it, but you're gonna be okay.
It's enough that I want you to immediately stop.
Yeah, exactly.
So at Maegashira 11, we had a 3-way tie for who deserved to go at Maegashira 11 East. And I'm happy we were able to figure out the tiebreakers exactly on this one. So Onosho ends up at Maegashira 11 East, dropping 4 ranks after a 5-10 record for Maegashira 7. He and Kotoweko both deserved this rank, and both were on the west side. So we had to figure out what the tiebreaker was going to be between those 2 Rikishi. I decided to go with the Rikishi that was previously ranked higher, and that was the case as Onosho ended up here. Then at Maegashira 11 West, we have Koto Shoho sliding over from Maegashira 11 East after a 7-8 record. Because he was previously ranked at Maegashira 11 East and had a losing record, he didn't figure into the conversation for who was going to land at Maegashira 11 East. But now that we're talking about Maegashira 11 West, he's eligible to be in that conversation. So once again, it's going to be between him and Kotoweko. They both deserve to be the same rank, but this time we did have a difference on what side of the Banzuke they were on. Koto Shoho was previously on the east side, and Kotoweko was on the west side. So using the east side superiority as a tiebreaker, Koto Shoho got the Maegashira 11 West spot. This was a spot on the Banzuke preview that I was curious about. I was wondering if the Banzuke committee would want to see a full 1 rank demotion for Koto Shoho instead of just sliding him over to the west, since there was somebody else that could take that spot, and just because they would only be pushing him down 1 full rank just because he had a losing record, and they wanted to see a 1 rank drop next to his name. So I thought that might be the case. They might do that, but I didn't end up going with that. I did go with the East-West tiebreaker. So I'm happy with that outcome, because the math won the battle over like, oh, it'd be nice to see this guy lose a full rank for having a losing record. We don't need to go with what like the numbers tell us. They went with the numbers. I'm always going to be happy with that.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Maegashira 12, that is where we will have Kotoweko landing at Maegashira 12 East, dropping 3 ranks for Maegashira 9 after a 6-9 record. And then at Maegashira 12 West, we start a string of 6-9 Rikishi, dropping only 1 rank as Chiyotaru lands here after being 6-9 from Maegashira 11. At Maegashira 13, we have Okinoumi dropping 1 rank to Maegashira 13 East after a 6-9 record from Maegashira 12, and Oho stays put at Maegashira 13 West after another week 2 meltdown resulted in a 7-8 record. So Oho, he's going to be the first guy that we have staying at the 7 and 8 rank after we've been demoting everybody else with a 7 and 8 record. This is because this is a part of this Banzuke where we really started running out of people to put into these spots and needed to get a bit more desperate, because the other option, instead of dropping Oho, if we dropped Oho any, it would have been like Ichi Yamamoto dropping a half rank for a 6 and 9 record, and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or we move Azumaryu up ahead of Oho or Ichi Yamamoto when Azumaryu doesn't deserve to be ahead of. Well, I think Azumaryu deserves to be ahead of Ichi Yamamoto by the math, but based on Juryo math, you need to be ahead of a guy by 2 ranks to be actually ranked ahead of him. And so it would have broken some Juryo dickery rules. I mean,
the technical term on the JSA West Banzuke
yeah, there's a whole subsection titled Juryo dickery rules.
Yep.
Yeah. Maegashira 14, we have Ichi Yamamoto dropping 1 rank to Maegashira 14 East after a 6 and 9 record for Maegashira 13. So this is our third guy dropping only 1 rank for a 6 and 9 record. And this is where we have Azumaryu ending up Maegashira 14 West. He is our first Juryo promotee to be placed as he rises 4 ranks from Juryo 2 after a 9 and 6 record. The Operation Be Mean to Juryo Rikshi worked on this Banzuke, as, like I said, Azumaryu deserved to be ahead of Ichi Yamamoto, but ended up behind him in the rankings. Spoiler for the Banzuke preview episode, Azumaryu is going to be a Rikshi that I have dropping that down to Juryo. Spoiler alert, that's just how it works. Let's take a look at Azumaryu real quick, because I'm pretty sure his longest streak in the Makuuchi division is
2 or 3.
Yeah. So 2014, he was Maegashira 14 for 2 straight bashos before dropping down to Juryo.
One of those he sat out for injury, and the other one he got a 7 and 8.
And then in 2020, Maegashira 15, 7 and 8 record. Maegashira 16, 5 and 10, back down to Juryo. So yeah, even if he sticks around in the top division for 1 more basho, it is going to be only for 1 more basho.
He's also 35, so
yeah, I do not see
really
a late career resurgence for Azumaryu. He is not on the level of Tamawashi to be that good when he is that old.
Yeah, we will have when we get to him, the other Juryo promotee is a little bit more promising here.
That's right. So Maegashira 15, we have Kageyaki returning to the top division. Is this the Juryo promotee you're talking about, Jake, with promise? Kageyaki at Maegashira 15 East as he rises 5 ranks after a 9 and 6 record from Juryo 4.
But I'm literally insulted that you even asked that as a joke.
Hey, he's back in the top division.
What?
He's back in the top division. We're going to be mean to him on the preview episode again. Yeah.
Speaking of being mean to Kageyaki, I literally skipped his name. Like I literally didn't even read that there was somebody there. I just knew that there was another gap before we got to the guy I did mean. And
yeah, it's just a blank spot in your mind. You literally can't see his name.
It's like the replicants and not replicants, the hosts in Westworld. It's doesn't look like anything to me. My brain just skips it.
Yeah. I assume that was something from Westworld season 1, because who honestly watched past that point?
Season 2 is pretty good.
Was it?
I think so. Season 1 was a work of art that should not have been touched on afterwards, but I thought season 2 was okay.
Okay. I honestly don't think I've even started season 2, so I don't really have any leg to stand on, but I just haven't heard the greatest of things, especially season 4. I think I heard season 4 was particularly not good.
I guess I didn't even realize that was out.
Yeah.
That tells you how
it came out this summer.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, that's a lot more Westworld talk than I was expecting on this podcast.
I was just hoping that if I distracted you with that, we would skip Kageyaki.
Well, too late. We already talked about him. We don't want to skip the next guy, as Atami Fuji will be making his Makuuchi debut at the Maegashira 15 West rank, rising 4 ranks after an 8 and 7 record at Juryo 3. Atami Fuji is only 20 years old. He has rocketed to the top division, and hope to see good things from this guy and big things from this guy. Somebody that gets to the top division at only 20 years old probably has a lot of potential to do good things in the upper ranks
Oh
eventually.
yeah.
Can't
But we're
expect it immediately.
yeah, yeah. And we'll talk about him a lot more on the preview, but just for quick reference, he's only been in the sport. This will be the end of his second year, and he went all the way up from the bottom. He didn't like start at Makushita or anything like that. He started all the way at the bottom in January 2021, and he's already in the top division. The only time he's even had a losing record was a 7-8 the first time that he got to, or in his first tournament in Juryo.
Yeah.
So pretty phenomenal start so far.
Be interesting to take a look if there's an easy way to compile it. Rikshi, who made their debut when they were 20 years old or younger in the top division, how did their careers kind of pan out?
That is some advanced sumo DB foo right there.
Yeah, because like the only guy that I can think of off top of my head is like I'm pretty sure like Kisei no Sato was 20 when he made his top division debut, and if he can beat Kisei no Sato, obviously, yeah, that's amazing. But that's obviously also pretty high hopes to hang on a guy.
No kidding.
All right, let's go to our final rank on the Banzuke for this Basho. Maegashira 16, and we got a pair of very lucky boys rounding out the Makuuchi division. At Maegashira 16 East, Tadetsuyoshi will once again drop only one rank after a 6-9 record for Maegashira 15. He had a record that easily could have ended up demoting him, and for that, he is a luck of the Banzuke candidate. And our final Rikshi on the Banzuke is the same as it was last time, as Hira Umi will stay put at Maegashira 16 West after a 7-8 record. Anytime you're the last Rikshi on the Banzuke, have a losing record, and stay in the top division, it will earn you a Luck of the Banzuke nomination. So for that final spot, or final two spots, it kind of came down to promoting Tohakuryu from Juryo 3 after an 8-7 record, or keeping Hira Umi and Tadetsuyoshi in the top division and sending one of those two down into Juryo if we brought up Tohakuryu. And the Banzuke committee kind of followed their rule of Juryo dickery. And that resulted in Hira Umi remaining in the top division because Tohakuryu deserved to be the same rank as Tadetsuyoshi. That's not 2 ranks better than Tadetsuyoshi, so they kept Tadetsuyoshi in. And I think Hira Umi deserved to be ranked higher than Tohakuryu, so there's no way he was going to be jumping ahead of Hira Umi. So Juryo dickery reigns supreme this Basho.
So it is written.
We should write it down someday. I should write all of my rules out at some point.
You should write like this, like an extensive tome that gets so nitty gritty that it no longer becomes of use to anyone.
It becomes incoherent and babbling.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Chidi's thesis from A Good Place.
Yeah.
That's the kind of detail and uselessness that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, we're dropping a lot of good TV. So if you haven't watched The Good Place, highly recommend that. Highly recommend the first season of Westworld.
Seconded.
Yep.
Season 2, okay.
Season 3 and 4, probably don't need to do that.
Nah, don't worry about it.
I'm also going to throw out some other TV recommendations because I love TV and I rarely get to talk about it besides with my wife. If you're okay with an extremely, extremely dark show, but is very good, Yellow Jackets. First season of that was out earlier this year. Highly recommend catching up on that. If you want kind of a mind-bendy show and kind of like a mystery box, I'm going to say like Lost, but better than Lost. Severance is fantastic and is kind of competing for like my favorite show ever at this point. Its first season was on Apple TV Plus earlier this year. Oh, shoot. I feel like, Hot D. Gotta watch Hot D. Game of Thrones is back, baby, and it's in fine form. House of the Dragon.
Hot D. Oh God, that's
Hot
awful.
No, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's very fitting.
Does it fit the theme? Yeah, okay.
It's Game of Thrones. Of course, it fits the theme.
As long as we're just shilling for HBO, who's not paying us for this, by the way. Their check is lost in the mail, supposedly. Yeah. Chernobyl is the best show I've ever watched. So
I haven't seen that. I've heard really good things about that.
Legitimately my number one, and it's only like 5-hour-long episodes, and then you're done. It's awesome.
Also, as a Lord of the Rings movies fan only, not like a deep Tolkien fan, I really enjoyed Rings of Power, so I would recommend that. Sure. I think the only people who really dislike it are like the deep Tolkien fans. They're like,
I disagree. I don't really like it. Like I'm probably gonna finish the season, but like it's
How far into it are you? Because
About 4 episodes or so. Like I'm
you'll get more into it.
What I'm saying though is it feels so like a show, and it's just nothing, and it doesn't have like the somehow, despite having like much larger stakes and everything than the Lord of the Rings movies, it has none of like the like magical immersion that I felt watching the movies. I don't know. It just feels so much more episodic and like
yeah, I'll agree with you to a
modern.
point.
It isn't like transcendently.
No, I agree with that.
It's just
I think it's a
fine.
good time. I think it's a good time. I don't think it's
Sure.
the greatest thing out there. Between
The
Hot
way the
D and,
movies are.
yeah, between Hot D and Rings of Power, I'm Hot D all day. Load me up with that Hot D.
Ryan wants that hot D. All right, let's go over the stats real quick here.
Sorry.
Because we're in the 4th period and the buzzer's about to be the last out of the game.
Okay, so you had to work really hard to make it not make sense. You were struggling, I could tell.
I said 4th period. That's not a thing.
I mean,
some people, I guess, would say it that way. They'd be wrong, though.
Yeah, exactly. People are either going to really like this episode or really hate this episode. All right.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm
So
not
we
sure
had-
I hate it or like it.
It's people need to know we don't talk.
No, you almost had it. You were almost on topic again.
Nope. we don't talk between recording. So this is just time for Jake and I to reconnect and catch up on each other's lives.
Kind of funny because we spent like 6 hours hanging out on Saturday.
You're ruining the magic.
Sorry, the sausage making. Yeah, never mind.
People need to believe that our lives only exist on this podcast and that nothing happens with us in between the podcasts.
We go back into our podcast cocoons and await the next recording.
Yeah. Otherwise, I feel that they're missing out on our lives and then it's not as fun. They need to know everything.
We should just record ourselves all the time.
Oh, that would be extremely boring. I work at home alone and it's just a lot of silence.
Other than like sarcastically
and me moving the cats away from my monitors.
Yeah, other than like me like sarcastically menacing the pets with like different like objects that I'm cleaning around the house, like there really isn't anything funny going on.
Yeah. I actually do have a pretty good view. He's not in here right now, but I do have a cat bed up on my desk. So Renly, when he is annoying me, he can just go into the cat bed and he'll literally spend all day in that cat bed next to me, not in my way. It's perfect. And then over to my left, I've got like a small little cat tree that has a perch on the top that Teddy can curl up in. And so he was the worst. Like the first week, he was just in front of me all the time. I could not get him out of the way. Got that next to me. He's happy to lay down in front of that. I got 2 cats next to me all day, sitting here silently working. It'd be the worst podcast experience ever. Only better than this current podcast we're recording. So Jurio Demotes. we had 3 going up in Azumaru, Kakiyaki, and Atami Fuji. So that means we got to send 3 down to Jurio. Those being Yutakayama, Tsurugisho, and Mitoryu. So how did I do on my prediction? I got 31 Rikishi placed at their exact right ranking out of a possible 42. So that's 74% of the Rikishi placed at the exact correct spot. I had a further 5 Rikishi at the correct rank, but on the wrong side. So that's 36 Rikishi at the correct rank for 86%. And 36 at the correct rank was the best guess in the Guess the Banzuke contest, where I finished tied for second out of 142 entries this time. So that is my best performance in Guess the Banzuke thus far, getting a second place performance. Have not quite gotten that first place performance. The only difference between me and first place is I had 31 bullseyes and 5 on the wrong side. He had 32 bullseyes and 4 on the wrong side. So
okay,
one point difference between me and the winning entry. But that just means we gotta do better. We learn and we do better. My overall rank on Guess the Banzuke, holding strong at 3rd overall. Going over the stats from this basho, my total misses from Rikishi, where they ended up in the order and where I predicted them in the order, only 16 this one. My previous best is 12, which, as you can see on the chart that Jake has laid out, was back in for the Nagoya Banzuke of this year, was my best ever prediction. I think that ended up.
You also tied it back in 2019, but I
Yeah,
think that one was a fluke because it was early on in your career.
no, that one, my order was right, but I had messed up like how many Komusubi ranks there was going to be. So like my guess the Banzuke ranking was god awful because I had everybody off by like a half rank. But
I guess I'm
the
just saying like
actual
total
order,
error. The way that we
yeah.
created to start like
Oh yeah, that one's an amazing fluke. I don't know how that happened so early.
but that's what this graph is showing. This is not guess the Banzuke data. This is just
Yeah.
how many total misses, because that's the easiest, simplest way to quantify it into one number.
Yep.
So yeah, this is your third best ever by that metric.
Yep.
How much guess the Banzuke history is there? Can we graph it this far back?
Not quite.
We'll
that
talk
far
about that
back.
later. I'd love to have that alongside, just to watch your ranking like approach the asymptote of first place.
Yeah, because Guess the Banzuke kind of has like the same database as Sumo DB, so you can go in and look at a person's entire history, like where they placed for each basho that they entered and where their overall rank has trended since they've been in there. So yeah, and
Let's
how
do it.
many? Yeah,
I'll make another chart for next
graph
time.
that. Yeah, easily graph that. So my worst guess on this Banzuke was shared by 5 Rikishi, where I only missed them by 1 full rank or 2 spots in the order, those being Ichinojo, Midori Fuji, Takano Fuji, Takanosho, and Abi. The biggest jumpers up this Banzuke are Ryuden, who moved up 6 spots, and then Nishiki Fuji and Azumaru jumping up 5 spots, and I think Kageyaki also 5 spots. And then our biggest drops down the Banzuke, Abi dropped, I think we're calling it 10 ranks now, past Komusubi 2. We're including that in there. And Onosho dropped 4 spots. So our second biggest dropper only dropping 4 spots kind of shows you how little overall movement there was on this Banzuke. We have 4 Rikishi that will be at their career high rank, those being Tobizaru, Koto Nowaka, Nishiki Fuji, and Atami Fuji. And 1 Rikishi will be making their Makuuchi debut, that being Atami Fuji. Jake, I want your help determining the snub of the Banzuke and luck of the Banzuke Rikishi. So to remind you, our snub of the Banzuke candidates were Takayasu, who only got promoted 3 ranks after 11 wins. We had Midori Fuji, demoted 2 ranks for a 7-8 record in a move that hadn't been made since 1770. Wakamoto Haru promoted only 2 ranks after 10 wins, and Sarano Umi promoted only 1 rank after 9 wins. Who would you give the nod to?
I think I'm going to go with Midori Fuji, the one where we had like the United States wasn't a country the last time that such injustice was placed upon someone of this rank.
And it might not be the next time.
And by the next time it happens,
yeah.
we'll also not be a country.
Yeah.
This will be
that's quickly
May.
becoming
May of next year.
Yeah, quickly becoming a reality.
Oh Lord.
Luck of the Banzuke. Our candidates were Ichinojo for ending up ahead of Midori Fuji, kind of forcing that historic drop.
Right.
Takano Fuji earning a reprimand for 2 reprimands for JSA East, dropping only 3 spots after 10 losses and being ahead of Takanosho for reasons. Terutsuyoshi getting only 6 wins from the second to last ranking and remaining in the top division, and Hirota Umi staying in the top division after having a losing record from the bottom spot in Makuuchi. Who do you give the Luck of the Banzuke award to?
I'm close on saying Hirota Umi, just because, like, come on, you were at the very bottom. You gotta get 8 wins. But I think I'm gonna go Takara Fuji, especially because of the conspiracy theory that is juicy AF, and I am interested in seeing if that remains the case, that he's a little bit lucky every single time.
If I didn't have a 2-year-old and had time and energy again, I would absolutely.
If I was young and unbroken once again.
Yeah, which I currently very much am. I would go back and like check to see, does Takano Fuji get. I feel like Takano Fuji, we've never really noted him as being treated like extra nicely through the Banzuke. So I wonder if this just 2 weird things happening back to back, or is there some history with Takano Fuji getting some luck since Isakahama has been the head of the Shippon department? I doubt it. I really don't think there's anything going on there, but it is interesting and kind of fun to throw it out there.
It's one of those things where like even the appearance of a conflict of interest makes it kind of wonky. Like you don't really want to go there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Kageyaki was, if I remember right, did like an entire calendar year of losing records and still was in the top division somehow.
Oh, Tochinoshin did the same thing.
Yeah.
If you manage 6 and 9s and 7 and 8s, you can trickle down pretty slowly, especially sometimes with those 7 and 8s, you can stay put. So that helps quite a bit. So Jake, your prediction for my worst guess. It was tough to come up with any. It's tough to come up with any when I make such good, convincing arguments for everything.
Which is why I petitioned to change the title of that to, instead of me predicting your worst guess, just
most areas of concern,
area of interest.
Yeah.
Area of potential precedence creation or whatever. Well,
yep.
I'll come up with a funny acronym that makes that make sense or something. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever.
But you thought that area of interest would be, well, if we're calling it just area of interest, you thought that would be the extra Sanyaku slots, and that is interesting. Still ending up with 3 Sekiwake, 4 Komosubi. I think it might have been Leonard's blog again on the Tachiai blog. I think he pointed out that might be only like 7 times we've had 7 Rikshi in the lower Sanyaku ranks in a Basho. So what's happened isn't very precedented. So that is a area of interest on this Banzuke. So I would count that.
Fine.
All right. I think it is long past due for us to wrap up this episode. Jake, before we do that, have there been any more updates on the scheduling our preview episode front?
I think no. So I think it's going to have to be Thursday. We got to get it going as early as we can because that's going to be a long one. It's going to be a doozy.
Yep, I'll probably have to get started while Riley's awake, and we'll see how that goes. She might not respect the on-air sign that I have outside my door.
Do you actually have one of those?
Yeah. My wife
awesome.
got me one since I'm working from home, and she's a teacher, so there's going to be times where she's not working while I am working, so I need a way to like let her know, like, hey, I can't be disturbed right now. So we got an on-air sign so that I could flip that on, like if I'm in a meeting or something and don't want her walking in asking me a question. Also works for podcasting.
Please tell me you have like a button you can operate from your desk without getting up.
No.
Okay, we'll work on that. We'll figure out a way.
Go for it. All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
Oh, my next Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all the works. GrandSumoBreakdown.wordpress.com. Go check out our Sumo newsletter that comes out every even number month.
Any comments, questions, or corrections, you can send those to us at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO. Our Aki preview is tentatively coming out sometime next week.
Late Thursday night, probably.
And I said Aki preview. I clearly meant Kyushu preview will come out next week for the Kyushu Basho that starts on Sunday, November 13th. So until hopefully next week, when we have our preview episode, I don't know what to do until then. I still
just listen to this episode on repeat.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What you got to do, go buy a GS Peeps t-shirt on our Redbubble store.
Yeah. Go to redbubble.com and buy a GS Peeps t-shirt. Jake put at least 5 minutes of effort into that thing. So
it was actually a little bit harder than you would think to get it to show up the right way and have like,
I don't know how to do it at all. So as far as I know, it's the most impressive feat of mankind that you got that done.
I did have to instruct you on how to, put a window on half of your monitor earlier. So yeah.
And it paid off 5 minutes down the line when things went awry because you shared something across Zoom and it decided to make it full screen. And I panicked for a good 2 to 3 minutes.
It's what you're best at.
Yeah. But then your wise sage words came to me in my time of need and I was able to fix the situation.
All right. Let's sign off.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time, throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.